What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of a director's debut film called Fresh, and it's on Hulu now. So let's check it out. So I haven't really heard of this movie too much. I remember seeing something about it months ago or so. This is a movie that premiered at the Sundance Film Festival just in January, and then its turnaround time to come on Hulu is pretty quick.
The digital age.
So what is Fresh? Well, it is a comedy horror thriller. At least that's what it's being billed as. But I wouldn't go into this movie thinking comedy. It's there, but it's a dark comedy that also traipses over some area that might be a little despairing. So this is a story about a girl named Noah and the modern dating world that she's in, where she is going through an app and trying to find new people that she might feel worthy of spending her life with. And it's not going so good. What does she do? She finally gives up on it and meets this wonderful guy in the middle of a shopping aisle, and it kind of goes fumbling well into kind of authenticity, and she kind of gets into this guy. Only you soon find out that it's going to be a battle to survive her brand new boyfriend's unusual appetite. This is a movie that is directed by Mimi Cave. I tried looking it up and I don't think she's related whatsoever to Nick Cave, so we can just scratch that. And even if it was, she'd probably not want anybody to know because she just wants to make success on her own. And boy, do I think she has some real talent here. She is a director that has been working on many different music videos, commercials, shorts. She's worked with talented artists like Vance Joy, Sleigh Bells, even Danny Brown, and bringing their music to life in a music video. And she's also had some help here from Lauren Kahn, who is also a director, actor, writer, but she's been doing writing for many different shorts for many years. This is her second feature film that she is writing for. She did another movie called Ibiza, which has aired on Netflix. Some of the cast, I'll just name off the main two in this movie because it's regarding Noah, the main girl who's going through modern hell and dating. She is Daisy Edgar-Jones, and while she's been in some TV shows like War of the Worlds and also Normal People, which I have not seen. Speaking of Fresh, she is absolutely delightful in this movie. Like, I really enjoyed her performance, and I expect to see her in a lot of great films moving forward. She's charming, she's relatable, quirky, and she all kind of fills those little niches in this movie very well. We also have Sebastian Stan, who is playing Steve, the questionable guy, and of course he is the Winter Soldier, but not for this movie, obviously. And I'm sure he's probably pretty happy about doing something a little bit outside the norm, which I think this is one of those films that I think does him a favor in kind of giving him some new material to work with, because not only is he charming in this film, but he's also very creepy and disturbing in this film. And this is one of those movies that kind of does the gamut of like different types of tones throughout the movie. Great music going on in the background that is kind of upbeat and fun while this extremely despairing situation is unfolding. It's interesting because they kind of mix all these tones into one movie and give a light topping of some metaphorical social commentary as well. Some people have criticized this film for being a little too light, but personally I think they're being a little nitpicky on that in my opinion, but what do I know? I'm just here enjoying the film. Her style in particular, Mimi Cave's, is very meticulous. There's a lot of shots in this film that are really well thought out ahead of time for the editors to do their magic, and I think it worked really well with them. There was some edits in the movie that were just fantastic, including a glass that I was just blown away by. I thought it was phenomenal. As silly as that sounds, I mean, things like that really add to the movie, and the acting in this movie is stellar. Like, we're talking like very quality acting. The writing in this I thought was very well done. It feels natural. There may have been a couple of loose ends that might have people doubting and having to suspend your disbelief a little, but not really for me. I felt like it all was plausible and everything that they went through, because as you know, if he has an unusual appetite, and of course that means things that involve food and eating, and it goes places that are somewhat graphic and really disturbing. One thing about the story that I really liked is sort of what is happening behind the scenes. I thought that was a really interesting idea, and I kind of like that. I like how they did it and how there's more going on behind the scenes, which is probably why I felt like there should be more to the ending a little bit, but still, it's a solid film. In some ways, this movie does kind of fulfill sort of the tropey storytelling that you have with these types of movies, but it also does a little bit different things with this movie that actually kind of, I think, were fun to put in to kind of throw the viewer off a little bit. Now, I will say that while I was enjoying my time thoroughly through this whole movie and being kind of like taken back, there's a scene in this movie that Sebastian Stan's character Steve plays that was, oh man, it looked really real. And I was like, oh, where's this going? I just want to know how he felt in that scene in particular, because it's got to be interesting. And hell, even Daisy Edgar-Jones, who has a couple of scenes, I'm like, ooh, like you really wonder how far this movie is going to go. And for the most part, it's not so like violent and aggressive. I mean, there is definitely some violence. There's definitely some gore. There is definitely some stuff in it that is going to make you kind of not so hungry. Not a movie that you want to watch while eating, by the way. Just FYI. They did some pretty cool stuff in this film that I really enjoyed, and I thought the pacing of it was all really good because it's about a 2-hour movie, and it kind of went by like that. I didn't have any issue with that whatsoever. I was kind of expecting this movie to go a different direction about halfway through the movie, and it sort of just kind of went a more typical route than I was hoping for. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with what they did with this film. I was just hoping for a little bit more of a twist, I guess. And maybe that's just me kind of seeing it in all these movies. And maybe it's a little overdone too. So they chose to go a little bit more of a typical ending with some funny things thrown in at the end that I thought were really good. You really get a sense of being trapped and feeling like grossed out. There's a lot of images that are shot on the screen that are done in what I would call sort of like a Requiem for a Dream style. And I think that that probably has a lot to do with Mimi Cave in particular, because she is a music video director and you really gotta spice up that 3 minutes with a lot of stuff in there. Fortunately, she knows how to pace it and she knows how to kind of spread this out a little bit and only added those moments when they really mattered. There is some moments with a lot of like mouths and eating. So if you got like that audio thing, it's probably going to mess with you a little bit, done intentionally to kind of really put a fine point on what's going on in this film that I don't want to like expose too much, but you get the drift. Other than that though, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a solid film and I would say that it's at least an 8. It could be an 8.5. I'd need to watch it again to really see, but for a debut film, feature-length film, this is absolutely stellar work. It's not as raw as some of the videos, but also is kind of like some of her other music videos that she's done and sort of the stylings and everything that she's done. It seems like she's amassed a good group of people who all seem to work really well on this film. It could have gone places a little further than it did, but I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. It might have added a few extra points or half points to the score, but ultimately this is a really good film that I think has a message but isn't too heavy-handed on that and is really just trying to be artistic and make a good movie. For those that didn't like it, I'm a little surprised because I thought this was a really great feature film and I think you guys should check it out. If you have Hulu, please watch it because I think you might be surprised by this movie. It is not as graphic as, you know, I thought it was going to be, but there are some graphic moments in it, so it's not exactly for everyone, but for those like gore hounds, you know, you'll get enough in there that'll kind of get you along, I think, for the most part. But yeah, the ending was decent. I thought it was kind of funny how they ended it a little bit. Some people might have a couple of questions as to why, but I think if you ask yourself what happens and listen to some of the dialogue that some of the characters say in the movie, you will understand where it was kind of making a point about. But yeah, what did you guys think? Let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. Have you seen this movie? Are you excited to see this movie? Are you into directors who do music music videos beforehand. I feel like this is a winning combination, honestly. Like, a lot of my favorite directors have started out that way. They really add this style to it, so I'd be curious to hear what some of your favorite directors who went from music videos and commercials up into feature-length films and what you thought of them. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button so you can check out more movies that we're going to be talking about all year long. But thanks for coming by, and as always, long live the void.